Another Friday, another WTF Vegas week. But hey, like they say, Vegas is different. Today on CityCast Las Vegas, my co-host Vogue Robinson and our lead producer Sonia Cho Swanson are going to discuss as much as we can, including the rash of fires in the valley, including some big ones lately, the outrageous markup on concert tickets, and how if the aliens are coming to Earth, how they're totally going to focus their energies on our little town, and maybe already have? It's Friday, June 23rd. I'm David Figler, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Hey, Vogue and Sonia, you ready for some Friday fun?
Friday. Is it fun, David? I don't feel the fun yet.
I'm going to sing the Rebecca Black song just to let you know how excited I am about Friday, but I'll do that after this recording.
Oh my gosh. Rebecca Black and that song Friday was in the news.
What?
Apparently the A's tweeted out something that some people took as a dig about Rebecca Black, way too complicated to explain, but she shot back on Twitter, oh, by the way, I don't agree with what you just said, and also sell your friggin' team.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
Even Rebecca Black is weighing in. That should tell you something about the unpopularity of this.
Even Rebecca Black is in on the anti-A's ownership bandwagon. Woof.
Amazing.
All right. Well, we've got a lot of news and things that happened as we recover from the Stanley Cup Finals win.
Woo.
Getting back to reality, including some really nasty fire in the valley. Vogue, what's going on with fires in Las Vegas?
Oh my God. It's so terrible, y'all. I mean, so we got the official first day of summer and a fire blaze. Like, all right, people, it's going to be hot.
Super blaze.
So off of South Buffalo Drive in the 215, a building that was being constructed apparently went up in smoke. So thankfully, no one died. One firefighter was transported to a hospital on Tuesday for treatment for smoke inhalation, but he was released. So no one died, which is the good news. But the fire, I guess, started from inside of the building, and the firefighters made a note that you can't put out a fire that's inside from the outside. So they would have had to have gone into the building to try to fight the fire, and there was no way because the building wasn't completed.
Oh.
But it was a 5-story building. The flames were got up to 100 feet in the air.
Yeah, the pictures were crazy.
It looked like a fire tornado.
So the firefighters noted this was impressive and overwhelming, and even the wind blew embers off and into the sky. It was hitting palm trees. It was hitting dumpsters. It would hit, bushes were on fire.
Yeah.
So I mean, low key, middle key Armageddon looking.
Right. I saw that it actually jumped the freaking 215 8-lane freeway and set some trees across the freeway on fire.
Because our winds, right?
Yeah.
Our winds are so high.
Right.
But as big and as, I'm going to use their words, impressive as this particular fire was, not the first one we've seen, and sadly, probably not going to be the last one. We talked about it very briefly in our newscasts here on CityCast Las Vegas that at least one elected official, Brian Knutson from the city of Las Vegas, is calling for an investigation on how these are kind of happening with such regularity and what the cause of these are. We've seen major fires in North Las Vegas. We've seen big fires in other apartment complexes that were under construction. So at least with Councilman Knutson, he's looking at some fires that occurred in his ward. Specifically, there was a fire at an apartment complex called The Tides. He has asked for investigation on what's causing these fires. He's talking about how we've had 3 fires in 3 years and how unacceptable that is. So he wants to get into the bottom of this complex. He wants to get into the bottom of another fire at a place called Lantana Apartments and how there are multiple calls out and how people are either being injured or in, one event killed. And I think also on his mind is probably what happened at the big Alpine fire that people will probably remember from 2019, where there was an enormous loss of life and many fire investigations and maybe not a lot of action to prevent it. These horrific blazes, which are also in the case of this most recent fire, like immediately destroying 600 plus more units of necessary housing for our community.
Interesting,
so there's a lot of things at play there. I think maybe the bigger question, though, is how can we as a community do a better job? Because I think the firefighters are doing everything they can.
Sure.
They don't want to go in and see these big fires. They would love them to prevent it. So what do you guys think are the major causes of so many fires in our valley?
So I've been doing a bit of digging online into some of the stats on house fires and residential fires. Yeah. The numbers seem to vary year to year, but most sources agree that at least one of the top 2 sources of residential fires in houses and apartments is cooking. So I know that both of you love to cook.
Everybody stop cooking.
Everybody stop cooking.
No, I think it's about construction. I think that whenever we're creating buildings, in certain places, there are things that are done to make a building more earthquake safe, right? There's springs inside of the columns and the things that hold up the building so that if it shakes, it'll shake, and return back to its original form. So what are the ways that our buildings can be more fire safe? What kind of precautions need to be made so that it's easier for the fire department to find a way to get into the building? So I think it starts from the foundation. How is the building built? When was it built? What is there a sprinkler system? Are there other ways to get water into a building?
Right.
And also I think we've got some really interesting technology as well. Like the firefighters for this fire had some kind of crane type device to try to get them closer to the fire to put it out, but it was still burning too hot for them to even get close. So I think we've also got to think about what kind of technology do we have to fight fire as well. So prevention and then new cool ways to put out fire. I think we need those 2 things in space.
I would also add in accountability. Because a lot of these big developers, which, hold a lot of sway, they don't want to be regulated. I think in a lot of ways, they do push back on some of the things that come at them from a cost perspective. Security at places that are under construction. We do see arson coming up a lot in some of these, but also vagrancy and people squatting in some of these buildings. How do they get in there? How come no one's watching it? And sometimes that happens as well. And especially if you have buildings that aren't really secured or monitored, you're going to get people moving in there and starting fires to keep warm or cook food or whatever. And then you get the inevitable result.
What I think I'm hearing is that we need both systemic solutions and personal decisions that are about individual safety. And we have to have all those pieces in together, right? We have to have safety checks and accountability, David, for places like the Alpine Motel where the emergency doors were locked or the fire systems hadn't been checked, or hadn't been safe. And then on the individual accountability side, let's all learn that, for example, don't throw water on a grease fire, smother it of air and cover it up with baking soda or salt or, learn how to use a fire extinguisher. Make sure that your batteries are replaced in your fire and smoke alarms. So I think it's really that 2-part piece of systemic accountability and then individual responsibility together, hand in hand.
Hey, David Figler here with a reminder that this show you're listening to reaches Las Vegas's most passionate audience. CityCast Las Vegas reaches the people who want to live here, not just the people who happen to live here. They're the movers and shakers and the most engaged in Las Vegas life. CityCast Las Vegas listeners are always looking for new restaurants and local events, and they care about what's happening in their community. Get your message out to the city's best audience right now with an ad right here on the CityCast Las Vegas podcast. Learn more at lasvegas.citycast.fm/advertise or email us at ads@citycast.fm. Well, let's talk about something completely different, and that is what's becoming these outrageous concert ticket costs for people who want to go see shows here in Las Vegas. I mean, Sonia, what are some examples we're seeing?
Oh my gosh. The other day, you guys, I saw this news come out that the hotly anticipated Adele concert, which, as you remember, had to be canceled earlier because of the whole COVID scare, less than 24 hours before the concert was supposed to start. I mean, people have been waiting for Adele to come to Vegas. Sold out so fast. Guess what? Resale market, these tickets are selling for a whopping $12,000 per ticket.
Jesus.
No.
Yes.
For like regular
Don't agree.
Like nosebleed seats?
I don't even know what the seats are.
Are people buying them at that cost, or is that what people are trying to sell them for?
Oh, no, literally have been sold at SeatGeek for that amount, according to the mirror.co.uk. And then some of them are being listed as high as like $15K. So people really want these tickets.
But is that the same? Beyonce, T-Swift, BTS, all these really major big event concerts that sell out are the resale market, as we very genteelly call scalpers. Are they making that kind of bucks on this?
I mean, they must be, right? I mean, if you think about the profit margin on these tickets, I mean, Adele tickets were pricey to begin with, several $100s. So, I mean, a markup of 3 times that or 4 times that is a pretty good profit margin for these scalpers.
Yeah,
but I mean,
or
that's like
8 times it. Jiminy.
Right. That's like supply and demand, I guess, right?
Ugh, Vogue, how much is too much for a ticket?
Definitely that price is too much for a ticket.
What, 15 grand is your limit? It's like 14 grand, I'm good, but 15, not even for Adele.
Well, I'm looking here. I mean, if you want to go see Beyonce, I'm looking at Ticketmaster right now. If you want to go see Beyonce on August 26th at the Allegiant Stadium, if you want to sit in Beehive A, it's $1,500, almost $1,600. And then you hit, whatever else comes along. But it doesn't cost that much to see Beyonce. And I love Adele, but Adele is not flipping upside down. She ain't gonna have as much pyrotechnics, et cetera, as Beyonce does. So to be that close to Beyonce, to get some Beyonce possible sweat costs less than whatever the scalpers are doing for these Adele tickets. No, I can't do it. And I mean...
So you're not going to do a mortgage payment for one concert?
It depends on how much money you have, how much you love the artist. I'm sure there's somebody who probably would have paid that much and maybe regrets not, I don't know, putting their house up, taking out a home equity loan so they could see Prince in Prince's last performance, right? So you don't know how long these great artists will be here. And so I understand somebody wanting to see a phenomenal artist and kind of going to whatever lengths depending on what else they give up. So you don't know what people are giving up in order to be able to take out these vast amounts of money to pay to see a performer.
Right. And I think there's something about like a Vegas residency where people really make it an experience. Like this is a special trip. They save up to come to Vegas. They save up for like the Vegas weekend, the Vegas show that they've been talking about all year.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a certain bar for Vegas shows that maybe don't exist elsewhere, but also that whole Ticketmaster thing. I mean, their fees can be, as I understand it, extraordinarily high, like up to 30% even sometimes, that add to the ticket prices. And then we've also talked about why some ticket prices can be higher in Vegas just because of the scarcity of venue or the fact that, if they are going to come here, they need to make a certain amount of money. So those factors can raise the ticket price as well. But whoosh, the days of going and checking a show over at the Aladdin Theater for the Performing Arts for $20, which is my childhood experience, are long gone.
Oh.
But is there a high threshold? Like, what is the most amount of money that you guys would pay to see which particular artist? Like, who is the artist that would get you to your limit, and what is the limit?
Man, okay, musical fans are going to hate me because it's not that high. But I would say I would pay $1,000 if they resurrected the original Beatles crew, including John Lennon, And
Oh,
it
stop
had
it. That's a ridiculous answer.
You have to pay much more for reanimated linen.
Yeah, that's fair.
Period.
Okay.
I mean, are you talking about
Crazy.
holograms or are you talking about some sort of weird biblical miracle?
Flesh.
I want
flesh.
I want Abbey Road era Beatles, I think, is what I
Oh, my
want.
God.
So
And on the tambourine, Lazarus.
yeah, so maybe I want a time machine on top of that.
Oh, my God.
I'm sorry,
and
I'm too
only
cheap.
$1,000 for that?
I'm too
and only
cheap.
$1,000?
Okay,
Wow.
fine. $3,000 if it includes a time machine.
Okay.
I don't know. What about you, Vogue?
Are we going to get a serious answer now? The resurrected Beatles. Who's alive, Vogue, would you pay your top dollar for?
How come I have to have parameters? I feel like depending on, where I'm at in life, right around 2000, wouldn't be horrible. Especially for me, I would have to package it as an entire full experience. So myself, my sister, my play sister, all of us going or taking all the girls. And as far as people, I mean, Beyonce is always high on the list. And my thing is with Tina Turner passing, it's when I think about, okay, who are the legends that are still here that I would want to see? And so, and not even necessarily in their prime, because I think prime is a subjective term. Right now, Janet Jackson is touring. And so for her to be touring in her 50s is that's still a phenomenal thing to see as well. So I think I just run down just a lovely list of divas. I wonder how Mariah's doing. I would not cut the check. I'll tell you who I would not cut the check for, though, would be Lauryn Hill. Someone would have to give me money to sit for whoever knows how long it would take for her to show up to a show.
Oh, because you don't trust her.
She don't show up.
Yeah.
You can't have thousands of dollars, sis, and not show up on a timely Nah.
Right.
Or you need to have openers who open right when I walk in.
Mm-hmm.
So, if someone gave me a ticket, then I would go.
Okay. Just pack extra water.
I need snacks.
Yes.
I need all of that.
What about you, David?
Oh, you both got me thinking. So I'm remembering all the concerts that I saw that were people right before their death, and so happy that I did get to see them.
Mm-hmm.
Bucket list folks like Prince, Ray Charles, who is somebody who I always wanted to see, and I got to see him before he passed. Don Rickles I got to see before he passed. So, I mean, these are fun things to think about, when you're talking about how much you would spend. But as far as legitimate, I was talking with my friends about this very question, and we all kind of agreed that the one person we would probably pay the $500 a seat to go see, especially if it was in an intimate theater, would be Tom Waits. I don't know that Tom Waits has ever performed in Las Vegas. That would be kind of amazing to see Tom Waits go through his catalog.
If any of our listeners have a connect to Tom Waits, let him know that David Figler wants to see him perform in Vegas.
Yeah, wanted to jump out his skin and dance around in his bones.
Wow.
That was my Tom Waits
voice.
impression. Yeah,
Nice.
It was really good. Oh, all right. Well, I don't think those ticket prices are going down anytime soon. So if you do shell out the cash for your favorite artist, let us know about it. We want to hear your stories too. All right, let's move on to the last visiting artists. The aliens.
Aliens.
What is going on with aliens? Look, Las Vegas has always been, for a lot of reasons, sort of an alien-centric place.
Well, Nevada broadly.
Well, Nevada broadly. I mean, obviously, Area 51 is nearby. The notorious Skinwalker Ranch over in Utah isn't too far and was an obsession of some of our alien enthusiasts here in Las Vegas. But it goes deep, deep, deep. So the story of the moment is that some Metro body cam caught a shining light descending towards Las Vegas in the sky, and others saw it as well. And then there was unrelated or perhaps related, a call from people that there was something in their backyard. Maybe it was 10 feet tall creatures. Metro went investigated.
Wait, did something land in their backyard from the sky? Was that the story?
Who knows what the story is.
Okay, because I thought I saw a photo of a circular ring in the dirt in their backyard.
Maybe
of an impact, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It looked kind of like
a mini crop circle.
Right.
And NASA said it was a meteor, but, in Las Vegas, people are going to go, well, obviously the aliens are coming here. It's not a myth that Las Vegas is visible from outer space because we got some bright lights. And if there were going to be visitors coming, I would think that's kind of the beacon. I mean, literally, the Luxor is a beacon. So what is our obsession with aliens out here in the West? Why do these myths and beliefs persist?
I think it has a lot to do with how much open space there is and how spread out people are. You know, I think something like 60 or 63% of Nevada is actually federal land. It's a lot of like, I don't want to say open nothing because the desert isn't nothing, but it's sparsely populated, right? And so I think that kind of leads to you either maybe seeing something and then not necessarily having people around you to kind of corroborate the fact that you've seen something. And then on top of that, I mean, if you think about our incredible night skies, right? The super dry air and how clear it is out here allows you to actually really stare up into space and look at the stars and the galaxies, and maybe kind of lets you think a little bit more about what's actually out there.
I mean, we do have an Air Force base too, and my guess is that experimental air vehicles get tested and things like that. I mean, Vogue, are you in any way enraptured in alien fever that seems to hit Las Vegas on a regular?
I don't think I'm enraptured by it. Like, I don't know. I think about aliens the way I think about most animals, where I'm like, if I leave you alone, you're gonna leave me alone. Like that's my desire. That's how I feel about ghosts.
Aliens, ghosts, and rattlesnakes. Not messing with you.
If I leave you alone, you leave me alone. These are the rules of engagement. You know, I don't want to pose any threat. I need you to not pose any threat to me. So I just tread lightly. I'm not on the search. I'm not on the hunt. I think there's really interesting things that pop up, and I think it's easy for the lore to grow in places that have like a lot of rural area, a lot of area where like you just don't know what happens. I think paranoia adds to it. Like if you hear a noise, you're like, what was that? The fear that comes out of the unknown. And I don't think some things aren't meant to be known and understood. I don't need to go to the bottom of the ocean. I'm good. I don't need to go there. Whatever's happening there is not messing with me.
Right. And I wonder, too, how much of it has to do with the fact that so much of like the West was really growing at a time when America was entering the space race, right? And space exploration was like really in the American consciousness. You know, that's sort of when our city started to really start to boom out west. So
reading through the article, like that the flash of light that was captured was from an officer's body camera footage. And I'm like, oh, look, your body cam works for this. You'll release that footage.
Right, they'll release that footage. Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons why the aliens would come to Las Vegas, especially if they need some public financing for a new rocket ship or something. But we've been obsessed for a long time. Anyone who's lived in Las Vegas for a long while has probably followed the reporting of reporter George Knapp. He definitely is the preeminent reporter in maybe the world about alien phenomena. People who used to listen to the dearly departed Art Bell, who used to broadcast from a mystery location in Pahrump late at night on AM radio, talking to people who have danced with aliens, who are former high-level military to tell about secrets at Area 51 and other installations. I mean, that kind of fed it a little bit, and that was right in our backyard. There's also this bonkers Politico article that came out a couple of years ago that is amazing, and we have to link it in the show notes. The title of it was How Harry Reid, a terrorist interrogator, and the singer from Blink-182 took aliens mainstream.
What?
That's the title.
Can you give us the summary in like 2 sentences?
I'm going to try, but this talks about, it starts at a meeting way back in 1995 near McCarran, at the time McCarran Airport. It was funded by this guy named Robert Bigelow, who listeners to the podcast will probably recognize his name as being a big motel magnate who was the biggest funder for Joe Lombardo's campaign and who also has been dabbling in aerospace like Elon Musk. Anyway, he called this meeting for scientists and engineers and a CIA spy, former Army colonels and Apollo astronauts, and Harry Reid. And they all just kind of hung out and were talking about like how aliens are real and how they're doing all these different experiments and blah, 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 blah. This article is just really great. But Harry Reid went there saying, don't tell anyone I was here because I don't want to lose credibility. And then some 25 years later, he gave permission to tell the story. And George Knapp's involved in the story. Lots and lots of Las Vegas connections.
What was the upshot of that meeting, though?
The upshot of the meeting is that aliens are real, that we are doing this stuff in our government. And in fact, at one point, like, I think it was Marco Rubio or someone else had done, like, let's release all of the records. And then when they came out, they were completely redacted, just fueling the fire of conspiracy. But Las Vegas being ground central for all this alien talk. So a lot of people dismiss it as being a bunch of pablum and nonsense, like aliens aren't real, come on. But if they are, Vegas is seemingly a ground central for this conversation. Totally fascinating. And the most recent sighting just fueling, I hate to say it, that fire.
Somebody has to ban us from using metaphors.
So, Vogue and Sonia, if the aliens are real and they are in Las Vegas, what are they up to?
I don't know what they're doing, but hopefully they're living a lovely, peaceful life and enjoying our weird climate. I have so many friends who have like little alien tattoos and like love the little trinkets and just love the idea of saying like they're not of this world and not the Jesus-y version of that, but the more like I'm different and that there's more out there in the world. And so maybe that's part of the Vegas appeal of people feeling like they're different and using alien as a way to describe themselves as different and not tethered to our little blue swirl in space.
What do you think they're doing, Sonia?
To be honest with you, I think the chances of alien life existing in the universe are very high, but I'm talking like bacteria. So chances of like intelligent alien life, forgive me, I'm a skeptic. I'm a sci-fi fan. I want to believe, but I'm also a skeptic. I don't know.
I'm disappointed.
Well, if it is kind of intelligent bacteria, maybe that's the reason why we're seeing a bunch of pools being shut down in Las Vegas. Maybe that's what's there and not
alien
chlamydia.
Bacteria shut down Planet Hollywood's pool. It's not the chlamydia, you guys. It's alien bacteria.
Yeah, not to say that there's chlamydia at the Planet Hollywood pool, but
right.
they have recently been shut down for whatever reasons that I'm sure they're taking care of.
Right.
Ugh. And on that note, hey, Vogue and Sonia, always intriguing talking about our week's events, and I love the Friday News Roundup with you guys. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, David.
Thanks.
That's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. Our producers are Sonia Cho Swanson, Layla Mohammed, and A.K. Al-Mumin. Our newsletter editor is Scott Dickensheets, and our hosts are Vogue Robinson and me, David Figler. Special thanks to CityCast newsletter editor Adrian Gonzalez. Music is by OG Moose and All the Kimonos. We record the show on the traditional homeland of the Nuwuvi, the Southern Paiute people. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city, including updates on our new alien overlords. Hey, you take care, everyone.